Hey, good morning. What a look, huh? It's officially that time of year in Chicago. I've been saying that for a while, but it keeps getting truer and truer. I think it's 7 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Wind chill easily below 0. It's long run day, so we're gonna get out here. We're gonna grind. I have 3 layers on, 2 thermal layers, an outer shell jacket. Yeah, I'm just gonna get mileage in. Today's run's gonna be very boring. It's just gonna be around the neighborhood over and over and over again in the extreme cold. I like to keep it relatively close to the house, so that way if there's ever a problem, I'm not that far from heat and warmth and getting back inside. We'll talk more, but coming off our reset week, there were some really great things, some really kind of unfortunate thing. One unfortunate thing that week that was pretty frustrating, but anyway, yeah, it's time to get running. Let's do that. Hey everybody, how's it going? Andy Hahn here, and welcome back to the channel. So we took a little bit of time off, obviously end of the year, the New Year's, all that sort of stuff, and now we're back. So thanks for rejoining me. I kind of have a few list of things that I want to talk about today. We're going to talk about today's run. We're going to talk about kind of where we are in relation to the target race, which is the Austin Marathon 2020. That's February 2022. The race is on February 20th of 2022. We'll talk about the reset week that was, which was basically coincided with our time in Jamaica, and we'll talk about kind of the fitness check that occurred right before the reset week. So let's get started with today's run. You saw a little bit of footage of it already, but today's run came in 2 parts. It was a 2-mile run with the wife, and then about 16.4 miles solo. Both were good runs. It was nice to really kind of get out there, put some solid mileage back onto the legs, and it was kind of like a pseudo long run day. It was just kind of like a weird amalgamation of a run. This full week is getting back into the swing of the training, and that was just kind of to kickstart it. So it was, I think, between like 5 and 7 degrees Fahrenheit this morning when the 2 runs occurred, with wind chill like below 0, and that's cold. I mean, there's no other way around it. It's the time of the year. I know I've said this before, but it's just true, where if you're up north, and I'm in Chicago, there's obviously places further north than Chicago, but if you're up here, riding through the winter is a chore. So wear layers, invest in good stuff, right? Good base layers, good wind-breaking like jackets, good gloves, good shoes, all that sort of stuff, because it's important, right? Like it gets cold. And so anyways, another thing that I like to do, I have my phone here because I have all of the data that I'm going to talk about just on the phone. The other thing I like to do when it's really cold is, and not only when it's really cold, but also when it's like snowed recently and the trails aren't clear and it's just kind of a mess, is I like to just run like all of the streets in my neighborhood. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, because the streets tend to be cleared pretty quickly, so there's like not ice compressed stuff to run on because you can like roll your ankle on that, or it's tough on the feet. There's not slick ice that you have to worry about sliding around and hurting yourself. It's nice and clean, which is really nice. And I live, just to be clear, I live out in the suburbs. If I lived downtown, I could go to the Lakeshore path because that's pretty well maintained, and I might venture down there for some of my runs, get in the car and go park and run. But days like today, I just stuck around the neighborhood. So aside from just having a clean, safe part to run on, I also like to run the streets in my neighborhood, even though it is pretty monotonous. Like, it's boring, it's hard to keep the pace up because it's so boring. But I like doing it for peace of mind, because when it's this cold, like, things can go sideways quickly. Like, if you bust a water bottle and you get water all over yourself and it freezes, right? Like, that's bad. That's really bad. When it's single digits or negative digits Fahrenheit, you need to be able to, like, take care of that. And so if I keep it in the neighborhood, I never get more than, like, if I go really far away in the neighborhood, it's about 2.5 to 3 miles from my house. So not that long of a time. But if I keep it a little closer, like today's run, I don't think I ever got actually, like, straight line, right? You still have to run around the streets, and it's not as the bird flies, but I never got farther than, let's say, probably about 2.1 miles from the house. So if something had gone wrong, I can turn around and, like, get back home where it's warm and it's safe and all that sort of stuff, like, pretty quickly. And I can take care of whatever problem is, wet clothes, whatever, continue the run or just call it a day. So I find peace of mind in that. I've run when, like, the real temperature is like -15, -17 degrees, and, like, on days like that, I just stick probably within like a half mile of the house. So that way, if something goes wrong, I can get back home really quickly. So kind of for those two reasons, I like doing the neighborhood. We'll toss the route up. Like I said, it was kind of just a hodgepodge of a route. It was a mess. But anyway, so that was today's run. It was good. A couple things to talk about real quick. So this right here is the Insta360 OneX2. A little bit of a mouthful. Here's the the name of it. Let's see right here. What focus? Anyway, right there. Anyway, amazing camera. Absolutely love it. If you see any of the shots that looks like a little drone is falling close, it's this thing, because the camera has 2 overlapping lenses, and it edits out the selfie stick. This is an aluminum selfie stick from the company, and the problem with this is I run with it kind of like this, right? So I hold the selfie stick. When it's cold like today, the selfie stick itself gets cold, which then makes my hand cold, even though I have some pretty decent gloves. So I don't run with it for a long time. That's kind of a third thing that I like about being so close to the house when it's cold, is I can ditch and take additional gear whenever I need to. The other thing with this camera is it's not super great in this low of temperatures. So for about 1.5 miles, you start getting like a little error code after about, when you start recording a video, 10 or 15 seconds into the video, you get an error code that says the SD card speed is too slow or something like that. And it's because it's too cold, and so it shuts off the recording. So instead, when it's this cold, if you rotate from kind of holding it like this and running to holding it up around the body of the camera, and your hand provides it a little warmth, you can get a little bit longer out of this. For my run, I went back out with the GoPro Hero 10. Again, on a selfie stick. Again, an aluminum selfie stick. Lightweight, but I also came back home and ditched this after about 2 miles. Same reason, because as you hold it like this, and you're holding the aluminum stick, it makes your hand cold. So sorry for not a lot of footage today, but that's the reason why. Didn't want to carry it. It was making the hands really cold, all that sort of stuff. So that was today's run. Okay, so where are we at in the training block? We have 6 weeks, 5 days, and 10 hours, according to the countdown clock as I'm looking at it on my phone. By the time I take a screenshot, it's going to be like 6 weeks and 5 days. It's not going to be exactly 10 hours. But anyway, so not a lot of time, because I'm going to do a 3-week taper. So we basically have 3.5 weeks or so left of hard training, 3 3/4 weeks. So those 3 weeks are going to include 3 20 or higher long distance runs. We're going to go back to the speed and tempo work, and we're really just kind of push forward, push through, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're in good shape, which kind of transitions me into kind of the fitness check prior to the reset week. So we'll still talk about the reset week in a second, but that last week before, pull out my phone, before we went on the reset week, it was a bunch of workouts that were like fitness checks. So the long run leading into that last workout week was 19 plus miles with almost 1,000 feet of elevation gain, and the pacing was great. The pacing was, let's see, the pacing was 8 minutes and 14 seconds, which isn't race pace, right? This is long distance running pace. But the pacing and the heart rate combination is what's really great about it, because the average heart rate was only 152 beats per minute, which at 8 whatever doesn't sound incredibly great, but you have to remember 1,000 feet of elevation gain. So I was really pleased with that. And then in the week that was kind of the fitness check week heading into the reset week, we did the 8 rep of the Yasuo workout. Remember, we'll do the workout one more time again with 10, but each of those times were hit, like each of the quarter miles were under 3 minutes and 8 seconds, and the goal was to get them all under 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and 3 of them were under 3 minutes. So that was another great, like absolutely great kind of check in the fitness that says I'm on path for what the A goal I think is going to be 310, the B goal is going to be 315, the C goal is to PR, and the D goal is to just finish, right? Marathon is a cruel mistress, just finish the race, right? That's a success in and of itself. But then I had one more fitness check run that week, and that was December 26th, travel day to Montego Bay. Got up, did 10 miles, and this run was a mile warm-up, 8 miles at perceived marathon pace, 1 mile cool down. And so the perceived marathon pace ideally translates into like 158 to 160 or 62 beats per minute. And just going by feel, like, does this feel like what a marathon should feel like? So I did that, and those were really encouraging, because I need to basically be like a 7 minute 10, 7 minute 15 second. Actually, I think it's 7 minutes and 20 to get to minutes per mile to get to one of my goals, like 7 minutes and 10 seconds to get to a stricter goal. But anyways, just running off a feel, the slowest mile in that 8 mile segment was 7:04, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 8 miles just running off a feel were under 7 minutes, and none of those felt like incredibly challenging. They just felt like a good marathon effort. And so really encouraged by all 3 of those fitness checks. So after the fitness check week, we went into a reset week. So what I like to do is it's a build, right, in the training block, and then somewhere kind of 2/3, 3/4, probably not 3/4, like 2/3 of the way through the block, take a reset week that's lower in intensity. And it just worked perfect because it kind of coincided with our trip to Jamaica. So my plan was to run basically 4 or 5 out of the 7 days and keep the mileage decent. And I was on track, and it felt really good. It actually felt really kind of good. The first day that we were in Jamaica, I ran outside. It was like 81, 82 degrees, 6 miles. Felt really good. The pace was pretty solid too for an easy day run. And all together, like, I was just really pleased, particularly given the weather. And then on Tuesday, did 6 miles just straight on a treadmill. 6.2 miles is what my phone says. That also felt good. Wednesday, we went scuba diving, which was awesome. And we're still kind of new to scuba diving. Running takes a lot out of you. Scuba diving takes a lot of energy out of you. I didn't want to do the two things together on the same day. So the plan was always to not run on Wednesday and just do the diving, and the diving was amazing. Like, we saw 4 sharks. They're nurse sharks, so not terribly crazy, but this was our first ever like open ocean dive, and it was just beautiful. Like, the coral was beautiful, the fish were beautiful, seeing the sharks were really cool, like, just absolutely phenomenal. And it was also a great workout. Thursday morning, kind of disaster struck, and I'm really kicking myself, both literally and metaphorically on this one. So putting wet clothes out on the balcony, I unintentionally
subbed my toe really hard. Like I kicked the back of like a chair that was on the balcony. And at first I was like, oh no, I might have broke my toe. But then I looked at it and kind of felt it and didn't feel broken. I could still move it. And it was like painful. It was really painful, but it didn't look that bad. So I put on my tennis shoes. We went to breakfast. And during breakfast, it kind of throbbed, but it didn't feel terrible. So after breakfast, I went back to the treadmill, ran 6 more miles, and it actually didn't, the toe didn't feel like terrible during the 6 miles. It didn't feel like great, but it didn't feel terrible. Got back to the room, took off the shoe, and I think the pressure of the shoe, like the compression, was really doing a good number on the toe, because when I took the shoe off, like, whoo, it was like all purple and started to hurt like crazy. So I decided, okay, I shouldn't have done the 6 miles, and I'm not going to run anymore on the trip. And what that ended up meaning is that Friday, Saturday, and not quite all of Sunday, but half of Sunday were no runs. And so that's actually a pretty long time off for me in a training plan, to have 2 completely no running days and not run until late on the evening on a 3rd day. But anyways, the toe started feeling better. We got back to Chicago Sunday, which was the 3rd day, and I did 5 miles last night, like really slow, just kind of testing the toe, testing the fitness, seeing how I felt, and the toe felt okay, and so it gave me confidence to go out and do today's run. So the reset week did not go exactly as planned. Also, because the toe doesn't feel 100%, I don't think I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of miss this week, which is why I'm still frustrated with myself for not being more careful, like where I was walking. I'm going to not do any pace work this week, because that puts a lot of stress on the feet, and I don't really want to run the risk of like re-injuring the toe. So it's going to be easy or long distance style miles this entire week, because I want to give it a full week plus several days before really putting pressure on the toe. So anyways, that gets us through the reset week, and I think that we covered all of it, right? We covered today's run, covered where we are relative to the marathon. We covered the fitness check week, which was amazing. Like, that was absolutely perfect. It felt so good about that week, because it really just gave me confidence that we're on track. And we talked about the reset week. So, like I said, we have 3.5 weeks, basically, the rest of this week, and then 3 more weeks of like legit hard training, and then a 3-week taper. And you know, the first week of the taper is still a pretty intensive week. And then by the 2nd week, the intensity is really kind of starting to drop. And the 3rd week, you know, culminates in race day. And so that's when we really just are keeping the legs, you know, fresh and moving forward. But anyways, that's kind of all I got. Lots of rambling. I'm sorry about that. But thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back to the channel after the new year. Happy New Year to all of you. Question of the day, or of the video: what are your running or just fitness goals for 2022? I guess if you want your general goals, put those down there too. I'll think about it and toss mine in the comment section below. So if you like these videos, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, that'd be great. If you like this specific video, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and ring that notification bell. That's all I got. Thanks for sticking with me this long. I will talk to you later.